Woo! Here we are, live on Facebook. Welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Show Up Show, episode number 1, where today we're going to be talking about the beginner's mindset. But first, this show is brought to you by Athletic Instinct. For more information about the gym, the facility itself, what we do is as coaches there. For those of you that know, I am a fitness coach at Athletic Instinct. For more information around all of that, to schedule a time to come check things out, check out athleticinstinct.com. This show is also brought to you by Evan T. Cook Coaching. To learn more about me and the work that I do, visit evantcook.com. Now let's get into it. So the beginner's mindset, what does this mean and what can it do for you as you're learning and growing and exploring on your own personal journey? So the beginner's mindset is just that. It's approaching things as a beginner. Now, how does a beginner approach something new? Now, I say something new. This is something that can be employed and used no matter how long you've done something. But for today, we're just going to focus more on when you're first starting out and you're first starting something new. So I can tell you what a beginner doesn't do. A beginner isn't worried about having all of the answers. A beginner is not worried about having everything figured out right from day one. What a beginner does is they go in very open-minded, willing to learn, and that's exactly what the beginner's mindset is, right? As a beginner, you're not expected, right? It's not your job to know everything. It's not your job to be perfect and polished. As a beginner, your only job is to learn, right? I'm going to say it again to make sure you caught that. As a beginner, your only job is to learn. It's to show up, be open to whatever shows up when you get there, and learn from that. All right. Really, being a beginner and having a beginner's mindset is two-pronged. A, it's not being attached to the results. It's being okay with screwing up. Right. When you're a beginner, quite frankly, you're supposed to suck, and it's okay. Like as a beginner, like that's your time. That's your time that it's expected that you're not going to know things and not going to have things figured out. Like this is your time to do that. Right. Your job is to learn. Your job is to figure things out. Your job is to take everything that happens and go from there and learn from that, right? So I think this is a perfectly fitting topic to talk about in the first show because I've never done video before, right? This is the first time I've ever gotten on this side of the camera and done something like this, right? It's a little nerve-wracking for me, but it's okay because I remember I'm the beginner, right? I don't expect myself to have everything figured out and to be this polished speaker on the other side of the camera. I'm not there yet. I can work towards that. I can learn. It's okay if this isn't perfect, right? I'm not attached to the results. I expect things not to go as planned. For all I know, I'm super blurry and nobody can hear me. That's okay. I'm fine with that. But the content is there. The message is there. The motivation to provide value and create something and share something that I think would be beneficial, that's all there, and that's what's important. The rest of it, the medium, the learning how to do this video, right, and share it live on Facebook. I mean, not only have I never done video before, but I said, hey, let's do it live on Facebook so that way my entire personal network can kind of join in and see what I'm doing, right? And I'm doing that for a very important reason, to emphasize and not just talk the talk, but also to walk the walk too, right? By doing this and not necessarily being so worried about having this be a polished presentation, I want this to be some kind of unspoken permission for you to show up in the same way in something else that you want to do, right? By me being okay with things not going perfectly, I truly mean it when I say that you can go into whatever it is that you're doing, right? Maybe it's a New Year's resolution, maybe it's something new, maybe you're starting a new hobby, or maybe even a new business or a new training program, all that stuff. Go into it and be okay that it's not going to be perfect right from the get-go. Right? It's okay to have high expectations of yourself and to expect great things from yourself. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with holding yourself to a high standard. But where it becomes problematic is where this high standard and this necessity, this feeling of having to have it all figured out, the problem comes when that feeling gets in your way of starting. From even starting in the first place. Right? That's one way. Or we start out, we do it once, it doesn't go as planned. Right? It might have been a complete disaster, and that stops us from ever starting up again, right? That's where the challenge comes in of trying to have this expert mindset right from day one, this knowing mindset, feeling like you have to know all the answers. Because truthfully, you don't, right? Again, when you come into it with the beginner's mindset, you're okay not knowing the answers. And that's really the key, being okay with not knowing the answers and doing your job, right? And all that your job is to show up and do the work, right? Which when it comes to being a beginner, doing the work is learning as much as you can and taking everything you can from that experience. And when you do that, you'll slowly get better, right? It's not going to be quick, and it doesn't have to be quick. Maybe you will pick up on things quickly, right? That's great, good for you. But be okay with it not moving as quickly as you might have thought it would have, right? Again, it's all in a mindset, right? It's all having the mindset that allows you to be a beginner, allows you to learn the process and enjoy the process and figure things out as you go and learn from other people and learn from their mistakes, right? They're not even mistakes, they're things that didn't work, right? And when you come at it from being a beginner, you can still hold yourself to a high standard, but your expectations of the scenario and the outcome, right? There's not as much expectation. There's no fear of messing up because you're looking for that. That's almost your end goal. Your end goal is how many times can I fail forward? How many times can I figure out all the ways that don't work? And that's really what the beginner's mindset offers for you, right? It's a peace of mind knowing that you're not going to have it figured out. So I hope you enjoyed today's first episode of the Show Up Show, right? So a little bit more information about the show while I have a few minutes here on the tail end of this. This is going to be a weekly web show. I hope to do this every week. I don't know if it's going to be live. I kind of like this concept, but I can't really interact with anything that's going on this side, right? Hopefully there may be some comments, so I definitely encourage if you got something from this or if you enjoyed it, please let me know. I believe there is a commenting space. Again, I've never used Facebook video before, so I'm really excited to see how this turns out. But this is something I want to do weekly where there's a different topic covered every week. Ultimately, I like to get into different interviews and really make this show something that provides a ton of value to those that take the time to watch it. And for anyone that's watching this live, or for anyone that watches this after the fact, I believe this goes to my news feed after. For anyone seeing this, I'm very, very grateful for you just watching this. Even if you don't say a word about it, just thank you for taking the time to watch this. I know your time and your attention is valuable, especially on a Sunday afternoon, but this is something I want to try to do weekly, and by try to do, I mean I'm definitely going to do it weekly. In terms of the medium, we're still figuring that out. Behind the name, half the battle is just showing up, and that's what this show is all about. Figuring out more powerful ways to show up and then learning from those who in their journey found ways to self-motivate so they can show up, right? Because the secret to success, all it is, show up, do the work, and repeat. And that's all there is to it. So thank you all so much for joining me in. I hope you had a great time. This was really fun, nice, short, and sweet. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.